From this abyss, two powerful beings emerged, not yet enemies, but brothers. One light, the other dark. One carried within him the crash of thunder and light, the other, the murmur of rivers, the whisper of roots, and the secrets of the depths. They were called Perun and Veles. One day, as they drifted together in a boat across the infinite water, Veles dived into the deepest chasm and brought up a handful of wet, heavy earth. He threw it onto the surface. Where it fell, the first island grew. Perun looked upon this creation and smiled broadly. "Good," he said. "Now we shall build the world." But then, something snapped between them. Veles looked at that small piece of land and desired it all for himself. He wanted to rule over the water, over what lay beneath the earth, over chaos and magic. Perun, however, wanted to rule the sky, the wind, light, and order. Their quarrel turned into war, and the war into an eternal struggle that continues to this day, the very struggle that allows the world to exist at all. Perun took in his hand an axe forged from the sky itself, and set off in pursuit. Veles changed shapes, sometimes a great black serpent, sometimes a wolf, sometimes a bull with golden horns. He fled underground, hid in rivers, coiled among the roots of trees. Every time Perun caught up to him, he hurled a thunderbolt. Lightning tore the sky with a roar. The earth trembled, and from the clouds fell rain, heavy, life-giving, smelling of ozone and freshness. Wherever the lightning struck, springs were born, rivers began to flow, and the earth woke up to life. The Slavs believed this struggle was the heart of everything. Without Perun, the world would sink into Veles' swampy chaos. Without Veles, there would be no wisdom, no fertility, no mystery. The world existed thanks to the tension between them. In the spring, Perun woke from his winter sleep, and the first thunder announced, "I am back." In summer, the fight reached its peak. In autumn, Veles took power for a moment. Leaves fell, and the world darkened. In winter, they both rested, one high in the sky, the other deep in the underworld, only to start anew in the spring. It was not a simple struggle of good versus evil, as in many other mythologies. It was the dialectic of life. Perun gave order, law, and light. Veles, chaos, wisdom, and the hidden power of the earth. Together they created balance. People felt this deeply. When a storm approached, they did not flee into their huts in fear. They stepped outside, raised their hands to the sky, and called out with respect and trembling, "Perun! Perun strikes!" They did not ask for mercy, they asked for justice. For Perun was not merciful in an easy way. He was severe but just, like nature itself. He protected those who respected word and law. He punished perjurers. It was said that if someone swore a false oath under a sacred oak, lightning would find them sooner or later. And it often did. Or so it was told around fires for hundreds of years. The first written traces of Perun appear as early as the 6th century. The Byzantine historian Procopius of Caesarea, describing the Slavs fighting the Goths, noted something remarkable. They believed that one God alone, the maker of lightning, is master of the whole world, and they sacrifice oxen and all other victims to him. He did not provide a name, but the description fits perfectly. In the 10th century, in Kievan Rus, Perun became the official supreme god. The Nestorian Chronicle, also known as the Primary Chronicle, describes how in 980, Prince Vladimir the Great erected a massive statue of Perun on a hill in Kiev, wooden, with a head covered in silver and a golden mustache that sparkled in the sun. Beside him stood statues of other gods, Horus, Dazbog, Strybog, Simargl, and Mokosh, but Perun reigned at the head. Warriors made sacrifices to him before battle. Princes swore by his name in treaties with Byzantium. In 907 and 945, the Rus swore on the statue of Perun, placing weapons and gold at his feet. The cult was vibrant and powerful. Sacred places were oak groves, tall, ancient oaks, most often struck by lightning. Archaeologists have found traces of such sites. Circular sacred rings with trenches where fires were burned, with a central place for a statue. In Veliki Novgorod, remains of a temple to Perun were discovered. Perun was not a distant, lazy god sitting on a cloud. He was a warrior. His weapon was an axe, usually iron or stone or a hammer. He wore it at his belt, or threw it like Thor hurls Mjolnir. Lightning bolts were his arrows, and the rainbow, a bridge between heaven and earth. He rode a chariot drawn by goats or bulls. The eagle was his messenger. Sacred animals were the bull, goat, and ox. Amulets shaped like small axes were worn around the neck. They protected against death in battle and brought the blessing of the thunderer. But the greatest secret of Perun lies in his relationship with Veles. It was not mere hatred. It was love and hate at once, like two brothers who cannot live without each other. Veles would steal Perun's cattle, sometimes his wife Makosh or his children. Perun would set off in pursuit, hurling thunderbolts. Veles would flee, hiding underground or behind trees. With every strike of lightning, rain fell, the earth became fertile, and the world returned to balance. This struggle explained everything: why it rains, why the seasons change. In 988, everything changed. Vladimir the Great accepted baptism from Byzantium. Perun's statue was pulled down from the Kiev hill, beaten with sticks, dragged by ropes through the city, and thrown into the Dnieper. People wept. Some threw themselves into the river, trying to save their god. The chronicler noted that the statue floated with the current, and people called after it, "Float out, our god! Float out!" Perun did not drown. He stepped into the shadows, but he did not disappear. He hid in folklore, in storms, in curses, and in names. When Christian missionaries introduced the cult of Saint Elijah, a prophet who rode a fiery chariot, the Slavs nodded and thought, "It is him. He is still Perun, only in a new cloak." To this day, in Ukraine and Poland, people say, "May Perun strike you," or "Let Perun hit you with thunder." And no one thinks of Elijah. In folk legends, Perun still fights the devil, the dark, treacherous one who steals cattle and girls. Sometimes he appears as a powerful old man with an axe, sometimes as a rider in a chariot drawn by goats. He is always the same: severe, just, implacable. One of the most beautiful stories survived in the Carpathians and Polisi. It is said that once a year, on the night of the summer solstice, Perun descends to earth. He disguises himself as an ordinary traveler and walks among the people. He checks if anyone is breaking oaths, harming the weak, or if they respect the earth and their word. If he finds an honest man, he blesses him with rain and a good harvest. If he finds a perjurer, he strikes with lightning so accurately that only charred boots remain. An old woman from Subcarpathia once told how her great-grandfather had seen Perun with his own eyes. He was a tall man in a white shirt with an axe at his belt. He was sitting under a great oak, drinking mead from a wooden cup. When the great-grandfather approached, the sky suddenly lit up and the man disappeared. Only the smell of ozone remained and a charred mark in the shape of an axe on the bark of the oak. Perun never died. He simply learned to live in hiding. He lives in every lightning strike, in every oak that survived the storm, in every warrior fighting for justice, in every farmer praying for rain after a drought. In today's times, as the world seems increasingly chaotic and devoid of order, people are beginning to summon him again.